You gag yourself for your own health.
That's one way to start the podcast.
So in Iceland, one of their like favorite coveted snacks is black licorice.
Yeah.
And so everyone is like, okay, what are the things that you should eat in Iceland? And apparently it's hot dogs. Like they're very big into like 100% lamb or like quality meat hot dogs.
Okay.
And they were good. It was a very quality hot dog, like, you know, no shit added kind of vibe. And dried fish skin in like packages. So fishy in flavor. To me, it was way too much. But like they do these dry fish skin packages that are snacks, and then bags of black licorice, and it's an Icelandic thing, and it's the most strong flavor of licorice ever.
That was my least favorite paragraph I've ever heard of human speak.
Dried fish skins, black licorice,
You had me
and
at,
hot dogs. That was horrible for you.
Yeah, it's the Mary fuck kill of food groups, except it's all going to fucking kill me.
Don't go to Iceland. No, it's beautiful, but don't eat there for you.
Well, when there's nothing else there on the island, I guess the food has to be very strong.
Well, maybe we take a step back and address our friend. And we're always recording. Oh yeah, this podcast has begun already.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah. Why don't we introduce our friend in the room?
Yeah.
Yay.
Hi, Ty.
Hi, Leia.
Hi, Leia.
Hi, Sean.
Hello. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Is this part 3? Is this
Part
the
3.
third?
Yeah, this would be the third time she's been here.
Yeah. What did we do before? We
did Prince Zuko.
did Prince Zuko.
And then before that, we did the
Rugrats.
Psychologist of Nickelodeon with Rugrats and Hey Arnold.
Excellent.
Yep.
Well, I'm so excited that you're here.
I think every time I come, we speaks for so long that like it's turned into multiple episodes. I think you break it into 2 because I just talk forever, right? So
it was only the first season that we broke it twice.
it was
The last one we just did one.
Today we're doing.
Yeah, this will be a
lot.
couple.
Yes, I love
Intentionality.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at us planning.
This is the theme. It's not. What's the theme is fucking licorice.
No, the theme is...
My kid is now fast asleep, I can pour myself a glass. But too many shows on Netflix are trash, it makes me wanna pass. I can't figure out what to watch, what am I supposed to do? Let's get drunk and rewatch cartoons when we were little dudes. Do Whiskey-lodian.
Leia, for those of our Lodians who haven't met you before, why don't you give a little hello and about you?
Bonjour.
Why did I say it like that?
What was wrong with how you said it?
I don't know. I think it's my legs are crossed, and I
You do
feel
have a very official.
it's. Let me. I'm gonna lean back, and you do the thing with your
Now lean back.
paragraphs, and I'm
Now
gonna
lean
be
back.
here.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Leia Charnin. Yes, I'm named after Star Wars. I don't know why I'm speaking like this also.
We're just alter egos of ourselves for the rest of this.
Oh, I'm all about some parts work. We could get into that. So yes, I'm friends of y'all and as well. Psychologist here in Charlotte, work with teens, adults, trauma, depression. You know, honestly, like I just see the world through a super fun lens. But I think that's
Trauma, super fun.
Yeah, exactly. But that's very much so shapes how I look at human behavior. And it's so enjoyable to be able to talk about the show from that lens from you, whatever show and topic we choose. I will say, since I am here in professional setting, I'm doing more of a mocktail so I can be clear of thought and really provide quality content, but
Mock thoughts.
it will be delightful watching the two of you.
What?
Yeah.
Are you talking about Schadenfreude? You like
Schadenfreude, yeah.
watching us experience pain.
Yeah,
But it's pleasure pain. It's kind of like I don't know. It's podcast S&M.
actually, this is a really fun topic. Like pain to the point of it's interesting. Like that we get engaged in it. For me, it's peeling sunburns.
For on you or on someone else, or watching someone doing it, or doing it to somebody.
Oh, I'm saying that.
I do it to myself.
But all of it. Yeah. Okay.
I do. Oh,
Popping pimples.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something so like what is the fascination and the morbidity of that, right? Like it's something about it. So,
Yeah.
Okay. Sean, do you have one?
Listening
do
to
I-
us talk about fish skin and licorice.
You know, I think a lot of friends in the group don't like cringe comedy.
Cringe comedy. Yeah.
I am here for it. Like The Office, like those awkward moments.
Same.
If someone's being hurt and it's cringy, I think that's something else. But when it's just like cringe, where I'm like, oh, this is so weird. I love it. I will grab a fucking 5-gallon drum of popcorn and sit back and watch the show happen.
Cringe is interesting because I feel it physically. Like whenever I'm watching something cringe, I'm literally like sitting there, like
you just feel yourself
like
ball.
I
Like,
Are we the
curling
same
into-
person? Because like that's me. Like I could do Parks and Rec. I could do 30 Rock.
Yeah.
The Office. I'm like, that's
I still enjoy the journey
because
though.
I want to shout at them like, the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
And that's
So as an aside, so I do a social skills training group for teens and their parents help and support, and I love this group. And it's also oftentimes for really socially anxious, autism spectrum, neurodivergent people, and we embrace like all the ways we show up and also honor how do we create connection. Right. And so it's kind of creating that duality of we're going to be awkward sometimes. And can we also try to lean into embracing connection or appreciating people, even if they're in a kind of like, oh, this is so awkward or don't do this. Yeah. But it's so funny because we're talking about cringe. And this is the epitome of like social unskillfulness when we're watching things like in The Office or it's kind of interesting from that lens.
so social ineptitude. That's okay. I think we're getting somewhere, Sean.
Sounds like a band.
Yeah.
Open up for Five Finger Death Sponge.
Yes.
Did you say death sponge?
Death Sponge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sponge.
The connectivity piece that you touched on is really interesting because I think the awkwardness, like if someone is feeling or being awkward, I want to be able to permeate into that space and kind of contribute to it. I don't know, like when someone's like, oh, don't make it weird. I'm like, no, do. Like, I don't like that language doesn't compute with me.
Yeah.
I am going to try to match that. And then there's a comfort there, you know, and like whether you're being observed or not, it's like, who cares?
You also kind of know you found your people if they like join you in it.
Yeah.
So Sean and I think connected over this very strongly because like we both, you know, your little Sean dance.
Oh, the Tobias Shuffle.
This is great. We're doing video
I can put
today.
together a
Yeah.
PDF. We'll talk.
Yeah. So, but I'm very much so like that. Or I randomly sing all the time and you would kind of like lovingly pick on me on like,
He picks on me too.
Yes. Like we're always singing the same person again. Like that goes back. Yeah. So, but it matches the energy. And when you find that matching of energy again, like that's a beautiful thing of connection.
Well, we are here doing a triple match of energy. We're going to talk about one of our favorite shows, I think, as a trio. But before we talk about that, I want to talk about something else that is quickly becoming one of my favorite things. Ty, your bonbons.
Oh, shucks.
Yes. In fact, we have the cameras today.
Yes, we do.
Here, give me one of those bonbons. And I'm going to, well, you go ahead and describe what I'm showing our loadings right now.
So these bonbons are a chai amaretto ganache bonbons. So this was actually a flavor profile I came across accidentally because I was testing out the amaretto ganache because I was trying to create like a chocolate version of The Godfather, which if you've had it before, it's delicious. If you haven't, it is basically a scotch with a splash of amaretto. And so at that point, I
did that shit. Leia's
could smell
smelling it.
them.
I smelled it last time,
Like,
and that's the thing with bonbons is they don't give off any aroma.
because it's on the inside.
No, I smelled the chocolate.
But you won't smell the flavors until you bite
Correct.
into it.
Okay,
so
yeah.
you can go ahead.
Oh, I have permission. Okay.
Permission.
So I made an amaretto bonbon just as a test batch, and I just happened to have a chai latte that I was drinking, and then I just happened to have it together at the same time, and I was like, "What the fuck? This is
this
amazing."
makes sense. Yeah.
Because I mean, you get like the spiciness, and then you get like the sweetness of the amaretto. You get kind of like a cherry and almond, and it just blends really well with chai.
You were the wingman to those ingredients, and you brought them together.
Aww. I sat with their cringe.
Oh.
There's nothing cringy about this, so shut the fuck up.
It's a beautiful direction. Yeah. No,
So what's our direction here?
So
How do we do
this
bonbon?
one? We're gonna take a bite.
Yep.
We're gonna enjoy it. We will then sip either the cocktail, which is a fancy chai toddy. We've done this before, where it's basically whiskey and chai latte, but I've also added the amaretto.
Right.
So,
Okay.
in all honesty, I think it'd probably be best with just the whiskey itself.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so take a bite. Enjoy.
Cheers a bonbon?
Sure, we can cheers to
Bonbon
the
tip.
bonbon.
I'm just gonna do an air tip. A little air tip. First there was airdrop. Now there's air tip.
Yes.
Oh, that sounds.
Okay.
Can I just get just the air tip?
You may.
Yeah, and it's just, I love how smooth it is. I love how the sweetness complements the spice. Mm-hmm. And then we have this wonderful, and so we have this fancy chai toddy, but then also our side piece. Sorry, Henry, it's not you this week. We have 4 roses. This is the single batch, isn't it? Small batch. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Small batch.
Small
But
batch. Yeah, it's fucking
Share
good.
your thoughts. You're making faces.
No, I just didn't expect like this to so strongly bring out that like nutty flavor amaretto like vibe. I'm just getting a lot of that like cherry nutty. I didn't expect it to enhance it so much. That was delightful.
I am the most fortunate one in this room because I get some for later because when I bit into it, the side of it just went right in betwixt a tooth. And it's hanging out there. It's still there. And is it uncomfortable? We persevere through discomfort here.
So I love how Sean started that with, I get to like save some later, whereas we still have more on the plate.
Yeah, I'm going to come back for those in like round 7.
Yeah.
Oh, that did work really well with that.
Right?
It's nice.
It grows on you.
You'll post this on the things?
Sure.
Cool. Awesome. That's the language that we use here. I don't know. We're doing things.
We're
Sweet
doing
man.
things, but it was
well,
delicious.
Well, you did great as always. Thank you for
you.
providing these. They are beautiful. The panther blue, nice. You know what?
Just for
that
you.
color is hope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not only is it hope,
hope chocolate.
the Panther Blue also ties in with what we're covering today.
Ooh, what are we
I think I
talking
know
about?
where you're going with this.
Where are you going with this? Take us along.
We are going to cover the psychology of Katara from the Southern Water Tribe. Welcome to Avatar, The Last Airbender.
This was my water.
Very good.
When I did that earlier.
A little water flutter.
I mean, the
I'm on a
luau,
boat.
yeah.
yeah, we're going to talk about the animation today.
Yes, not
Not
the live
the live
action.
action. So if you're following along, know that we are not going to reference the live action
Correct.
Yeah.
for no reason.
For no reason at all. We're not going to...
We're not going to talk about it.
You already have a sense of our brains. We need to focus in some way.
We do.
We're going to focus on the animated.
Yeah. Hello, Lodians. I hope you like 4-hour-long podcast audiobooks. Here we go. Well, you don't have any fun facts today, but that's okay.
Yeah, we've covered a lot. So I didn't have any fun facts.
We've dived into lots of fun facts about us today. I think our audience is facted out
This time.
this time.
But next time. So this is
We're
actually-
doing a lot of setup today. We're not doing punchlines. It's not today. No punchlines. No fucking
we're
punchlines.
talking about cringe, and that's just how you do it. Set up, no payoff.
This
But
is
there's
how
a
you
spectrum
do
of cringe. Don't get me wrong. There's good cringe. There's bad cringe. But there's only good bonbon.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, shucks.
Oh, look at that. A punchline. What's just accept it. I thought we said yes and here.
Yes, and that was
You
beautiful.
know butt motherfuckers.
We listen and we don't judge.
That's
Which that has been a new trend.
Half of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
What
been
part?
a trend. It's like we listen but we don't
Yep.
judge, and then they say the wildest shit. And it's like,
And then we judge.
and
And then we judge.
And then we
The
judge.
chocolate is still in there.
you're welcome.
Tell me about Katara.
So, we're going to split this up into 2 episodes. This first part is going to be covering season 1. So we're going to be covering kind of the baseline of understanding her character before it goes through the ringer. So we're going to be covering episodes 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 10, and 18.
There's a lot of numbers there.
It is a lot of numbers, but we're going
Yes.
to get through this. So
We're going to try.
we're going to succeed.
We're going
I
to do the old
believe
tie
in
try.
us.
Yeah.
I believe in us.
I believe. in
And I'm going to
things.
try to do this without using too many research
things.
things.
That's what yeah, I think we have limited ties research opportunities. We're calling them research things because we have to.
Because apparently I take too long. So,
Well,
To explain things?
no, to research something. When I'm
things?
like,
Oh,
hey,
okay,
I
okay.
don't know this answer. I need to look it
it's
up.
only because I want you here with me, and you leave your body. You I don't know where you go.
But that's
I
like
go
the
into
deep
my mind
dive.
palace.
That's
Your
the-
mind
yeah.
palace, but your body remains here in this catatonic state, and I'm by myself in this
I
moment.
will remember you.
No, you won't. You're catatonic.
So before we dive in, you actually hadn't watched Avatar: The Last Airbender until we brought up Zuko.
Correct.
So where has your Avatar journey taken you so far?
Nickelodeon to me, and I think one of the reasons why this podcast is so special, is it brings back a sense of like childlike connection for us. And I didn't realize Avatar was released like, I hate to say it, I was an adult. Right?
Same.
It was 2007-ish, right?
3 to 6.
3 to
03
6.
to
Okay.
06.
Yeah, 2003.
I believe.
Yeah, so I was like officially moving into young adulthood, and so this wasn't so much my childhood. And I because when I watched it, when y'all introduced me to it, I was like, how did I miss this as a child? That's why I was already going into college, and I think that's when I started watching Adult Swim, which, you know, that could be a whole other segment, but I was really into Aqua Teen Hunger Force, I think, in that chapter of my life.
Explains so much.
That's a pretty fun show, baby. Yeah, tell me a little bit more about the experience of Avatar. Yeah, baby.
That was beautiful.
You basically just put a bubble in your throat and then go to town. Don't love that sentence.
That was amazing. Okay.
So while
So I
Leia
think-
tries to cover.
I was laying out my developmental chapters of life, I think. And then I was just recently introduced to Avatar, right, in the last year or so.
Yeah.
And I think it was so beautifully selected for me from like that trauma narrative, character development. And the first watch I was focused on Zuko so we could talk about it on the podcast. And I think the first time we recorded, I also screwed up his name. Did I say it right that time?
Zuku.
Yeah, Zuko's
I
like-
screw
Zuko.
every time.
But that's okay.
It's fine. I'm consistent at
We
least.
know the intention.
No, you just said Zuko. Like, you got it right this
Oh, I
time.
got it right.
Much like Zuku arced into Zuko, Leia has arced into knowing his name. Punchline.
I know things. The point was, I wasn't as focused on Katara in that watch. And this time, the joy of being able to focus on her brought up all new observations. Like, I really enjoyed the storyline. And each watch being able to focus in a different way has created new appreciation and development of the show for me. So I'm really looking forward to the conversation.
That's such a good observation. It's a special show in that way.
It is.
And with every rewatch, you can experience something like that.
Yes.
And I think this is one or two or three of many, many conversations we can have about this show because of how well done it is. It's like it's a simple thing you do in writing, which is, what does the character want? And some shows or movies that miss that mark just forget to think about that. But this show clearly understands their value system, and we know what each character wants very clearly, even if they're a little bit morally flawed or gray or however you want to paint that, and it's refreshing.
Yeah.
Much like this bonbon punchline.
Punchline.
Get your bonbon.
Well,
get your bonbon. Yeah.
Speaking of foundation, the beginning of this episode literally starts with Katara and Sokka out on a canoe fishing. And we see Sokka's like, I got a spear. I'm going to catch this fish. I'm the man of the house. He's put on this whole air of, I got to take care of things. And then Katara, she has kind of this whole adventure side of, I see a fish right there. And she uses her water bending to catch the fish. And she has it. She's about to put it in the boat. But then Sokka raises a spear, bursts her bubble. Fish falls out. He gets splashed in the water. And he's mad and yells at her. And at this point, you can tell that he has kind of a whole, I don't want to say disdain, but he does not like her waterbending. He calls it just magic. He's very dismissive of it. And when they get caught in a stream that just pulls them through and ends up crashing their boat, now they're marooned, Sokka again is blaming her. And at that point, Katara loses her shit. She's like, I do all this fucking shit just so you can play soldier.
She says that.
She does. And at that point, you can tell that her bending is tied to her emotions. And so the angrier she gets, the more aggressive the water gets. And because she's now shouting at Sokka, her water bending is now destroying this glacier, this ice formation that suddenly frees the Avatar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so at that point, we then see Aang finally get out of the sphere of ice he created. And they find him, and she immediately wants to take care of him. She has a very maternal instinct.
She does.
And one of the things that I really found interesting, this will play along in it, is that you have brought up that people will often grow up to be the person that would have protected them as a child. And so I think that's kind of, she sees someone who is not strong or who has been weakened in some instance and just wants to take care of them.
Absolutely.
So at that point, we're able to go ahead. They bring him back to the village. Aang is introducing himself. Turns out he's an airbender. And they're like, we haven't seen an airbender in so long. And of course, Katara sees another bender, and she immediately wants to like gravitate of like, oh, hey, we're connected now because we are both benders. She's the last waterbender of her tribe. He's potentially the last airbender ever. And so at that point, she wants to learn from him. And he's like, I don't know waterbending. But there's the Northern Water Tribe, and my air bison can fly. I could take you there. And so very much she wanted to take on like a mentor. Turns out that was not going to be the case. And they end up going into a Fire Nation ship. And immediately Katara's like, this brings back bad memories. We shouldn't be here. And Aang, in a way that I don't think he was trying to be dismissive of her feelings, it's very much of, well, hey, being a bender means facing your fears. And that's what gets her to go on this boat. And in which case it ends up triggering a booby trap, and that alerts the Fire Nation that's happened to be nearby of where they are at.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting, I love how quickly she bonds with Aang, because when they come back, everyone's pissed at the boat. And Aang takes responsibility. He goes, no, I told her to come on the boat with me. This was my fault. And he gets banished from the village. And Katara immediately was like, well, fuck all y'all. I want to go with Aang. And he's going to take me to the Northern Tribe. And I'm going to learn how to waterbend. And it's only then when they were like, you would choose him over your family? That she finally like pauses and realizes, oh, fuck, I did just say that. And Aang is able to be like, don't do this because of me. It's okay. But just that immediate of like, no, this, like, there's more for me. And in that heated moment, she was willing to leave her family without realizing what that meant.
I'm curious about, like, again, motivation, right? Like at that point, you're getting an idea of how she is different than her tribe, right? And her family. And she is, I think, really in this developmental stage of like, I want to learn more about the world. I want to learn about myself. And there's this powerfulness and I think vulnerability with being the last, right? The last waterbender. And I want to learn as much as I can about my story, my history. And that does make her separate and different from the family. And like, so kind of coming back in a way. Go ahead.
Because she knows her history, but she has this gift and she has no one to help her understand it.
Yeah. Yep. So I go back to like motivation of what is driving her to leave what she's known, to face her fears. And I love that idea, by the way, of course, right? Of like still moving forward with what's important to us, even when there's fear. And so we're not letting fear drive the bus. We're like saying, okay, the deeper value for me, for her, it's learning. It's seeing what she's capable of doing. I'm curious about kind of what y'all are seeing of the deeper value that's motivating her.
Well, even with Sokka, when she was on that canoe with Sokka, she was very much saying, look, I take care of this, I do that. She's very much feeling underappreciated.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of why she was so ready to just leave it all behind, is because she's like, look, there's more for me out there.
There's also an understanding that this fear is going to be here no matter which way I go. So I think the path of letting it light some fire underneath, pun not intended maybe, is important. Let that fear be a motivating factor. I don't think that's the prime motive, but I think that's part of it. It's like, stay, go. This situation's still going to be what it's going to be. I got to figure some stuff out. So what's cool too is I like that you can call them supporting characters. You can call Aang the main character, but that's not important. I think what's really cool is that one journey is happening while simultaneous journeys are kind of splitting off from this inciting incident. So yeah, it's exciting.
It's very exciting.
Yeah. I also think there's a lot of foreshadowing happening with, like, you spoke to her maternal kind of presence, and moving forward in the future seasons, we know we go through her story of loss of her mother. So I think there's already maybe some like kind of thinking about that healing journey you spoke to. We oftentimes give what we wanted on ourselves in our own healing. And so there's something there of like forecasting about the maternal figure, I think, being really important in the series as well.
Yeah. She's really the mother hen of the group.
Yeah. Yeah. No, which I love. Yeah.
Water hen.
The waterfowl.
Oh, the waterfowl. I'd watch that.
I would watch
that. I guess
too.
we did. I guess that's what we're talking about.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Cool.
And then Zuko has to come in and fuck it all up. Of course, he comes in with the Fire Nation, and they're looking for the Avatar. And that's when she realizes, holy crap, Aang is the Avatar. Mm-hmm. And so Aang comes in and saves them. But when he realizes that he might not be able to save everyone, he sacrifices himself to be escorted onto the Fire Nation ship to protect everyone. And Katara immediately is like, I need to go save this guy. He is the Avatar. He's this last hope. I need to do this. And Sokka comes right behind her and she yells at him. It's like, look, I have to do this. Like, get the fuck off my back. And he goes, Katara, look. And he's brought a canoe. And she realizes, oh, he's on her side on this. And then they see Gran, and Gran has packs for them. She says, no, you guys have to do this now. This is your journey. And see that defensiveness of feeling like no one ever listens or believes her to now they're showing the support. It kind of gives her that extra courage of, I'm ready to take this.
Can we talk about family conflict and attachment responses for a second?
I was hoping. I was going to ask if we could.
Beautiful. I'm glad that we're mind melded.
Alignment.
Right? I've been watching a lot of Star Trek recently, so I think that mind melding thing, like Spock is present with me.
As he'll do.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yay. Anyways, okay. So what I was coming to is that immediate defensiveness. I'm going to get mad at you, right? And like not understand the deeper intention of the person. We tend to have that response in the people that we're closest to and most vulnerable with, because I think, let's talk about why we think that. Like, do y'all even notice like kind of that knee jerk, like sometimes guarded or like interpreting the intention sometimes of family members as like blocking us or getting in our way? I don't know. I'm just kind of curious about that.
I from experience, I feel like a lot of it is just due to repetition. They have routinely been ignored or dismissed.
It's patterned
in
some way.
And so at that point, it's very much of, let me not just be disappointed because it's probably going to happen. I'm just going to be strong and fight back and demand that this is done.
Yep.
And then it's pleasantly surprised, like, oh, you were going to do that. Oh, you said yes. Okay, cool.
Right. Sean?
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything to add. Yeah. Was my body language like words were trying to jump out of my face? Or?
No, I just didn't want to talk over the man.
Oh, well.
Let's talk about
what a man.
So coming back to attachment, right? So I agree. Like when we are responding to a pattern that we've grown up with or experienced so many times, we very quickly go to what our natural defense mechanism might be. So that might be shutting down, like this person isn't going to change, or that implicit belief. Therefore, like, why even try? Or maybe getting bigger in sound or in bitingness and like, you're not even helping. And then Sokka shows up helping, right? And so I think that's an important theme that we kind of see in the development of relationships over the show, of they're developing together in their relationships, in the belief and trust in each other, and continuing to really deepen and secure attachment building, which I can talk about that more, but you can kind of see where I'm going with that, right?
Yeah.
Like Katara needs to have that learning experience of, wow, they are showing up for me. And I think we see the entire group get closer and closer, even through conflict throughout the entire series. So I love that family dynamic perspective.
Well, we're going to see this elsewhere too, because like in the very next episode of the Southern Air Temple, Aang has been told no one's seen an airbender, and he thinks, hey, there's no way that people can get up to these mountains. They had to have a flying bison, so obviously they're just hiding. So he goes, and Katara tries to like prep him, like, hey, like,
I thought this was heartbreaking.
I wonder if this was everyone's first cry.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, because there are plenty of those.
Yeah.
I just think this was, to your point, the most I mean, I think we've talked about this episode before, but
we're going to get to it again.
We're going to talk about it again. So this will be our 100th cry together.
Our hearts and butt strings will be pulled.
Yes, they will. Oh, good. I needed more salt in my whiskey.
But yeah, so Katara's trying to give Aang a heads up, but he's just like, oh no, it's fine. No one can reach them. And they see how joyful Aang is to be back home.
Sure.
He's sitting there like, oh, this is where we would play airball. This is where we would do this. And Sokka notices a helmet of the Fire Nation.
And covers it up.
Well, no. Katara's the one that does that.
That's right. Katara does.
So Katara sees it, and they're like, hey, we got to talk about something. And they could just see how happy he is. So Katara then just water bends the snow to cover the helmet and Sokka. And what was really interesting to me was that Sokka didn't get mad at her. He was like, you can't hide this from him forever.
It's that maternal instinct, I think.
Well, this is
Or
now
pa-
Sokka. Sokka.
No, I mean from Katara.
Yeah,
Katara
Katara's
There's a
trying to
protective,
protect.
the protectiveness.
But Sokka's even understanding of this. He understands that I know you're doing this because you care about him, but this is just going to hurt him later.
It's the intention, accountability,
Right.
Constant struggle.
Yeah.
The Venn diagram of
And so
of
they,
graphs.
right.
Scatter plot graph.
Punchline.
Punchline.
And so at that point, they go into the sanctuary where they see all the statues of past avatars. And so they're like, oh, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. I was supposed to meet Avatar Roku. I don't know what's going on. And then they find Momo. Momo comes out of nowhere.
Or does Momo find them?
Momo finds them.
Yeah.
And so at that point, Aang chases Momo and is having fun. He's laughing. And then he sees bodies. Bodies and bodies of Fire Nation soldiers. And right at the
What
very
a
top.
juxtaposition of joy and then just dread.
Oh, it gets even worse because he
I
sees
know.
at the very
Feel it.
center of all these dead bodies is the skeletal remain of Monk Gyatso, his
Yeah.
father figure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he loses it. Like just the grief overwhelming him to the point that he enters the avatar state. And wind is blowing
Yes.
everywhere. And so now, like, the statues are now lighting up because Avatar State's going on, which means other people are finding out about the Avatar as well. And at that point, Sokka's trying to find refuge, but Katara knows the pain he's going through. And so she reaches up and just grabs his arm. And he looks at her angry. But as soon as he recognizes she's also experienced grief, like he calms down and just like crumples into her arms. And surprisingly, this is not the last time this will happen. And so like she shows that compassion of, I've lost my mother. And she doesn't use it as like her identity of, oh, hey, I've lost my mother. Give pity to me. Like it's very much of, she uses it to connect.
And it's nice to see there's no advice trying to be given here.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
sometimes all people need is just be here with me.
Presence.
Words don't necessarily have a place in this.
So I think about this from the perspective of, especially when we're triggered, trauma activation, and just like that nervous system response, right? Like when we feel that either like immobilization and shutdown or this like heart rate and escalation and blood flowing, like when emotion gets so strong. And really, as a therapist at that point, verbal and reassurance isn't necessarily going to be able to be heard and processed as much. So the most that I try to say verbally is like, I'm here with you. We are together. And sometimes I'll even, if I have permission from a client, right, I'll even like touch their arm or like put my feet on top of their feet to ground and be present together. So I think that's so powerful when there's a sense of touch, right? And I'm not going to necessarily even say anything. I'm just sharing in this humanity of emotion and experience together. I thought that was so powerful in that scene. And I loved it in terms of how do we come back to secure attachment and trust and the embodied like connection. It's beautiful.
Well, you just water bent my heart.
Oh,
You blood bent. Are you a bloodbender? Fuck.
That
Are
shit was-
therapists bloodbenders?
I mean, that's how they get your heart beating.
if we can get into the quote of so like mush of the, I don't know, there's liquid
there's
in the
something
brain.
there.
There's like, yeah.
She's a brain bender.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, if I could do that.
I wanted to ask you, what is the difference? Like, how would you identify between using shared trauma for compassion versus trauma bonding?
Well, that's a good one. Yeah. I don't know why I said it like that.
Because you wanted to answer the question in a so serious way.
I think there's a lot of power. I think back to like being together and not having to explain ourselves, not having the extra cognitive burden of like, I have to explain my experience, but I'm with someone who understands it without having to explain it. Does that make sense? It looks like you're thinking. Is that making sense?
I'm more so trying to understand.
Okay. So, for example, oftentimes people will reach out and say, I want a therapist who is a parent. I want a therapist who is middle-aged, who it has, it's a certain identity that might be a similar lived experience to the client. right? That is maybe Black, that is maybe, again, a mother, a parent, because this client is a parent. And they just want to know that this person they're with gets it without having to over-explain it. And so I think we're meeting each other in a shared experience. And I think that in the trauma connection, like it's a shared, like, okay, you understand grief, you understand loss. I don't need to explain it. Whereas trauma dumping is, I'm just sharing and telling you everything. And like, I haven't even checked in if, do you have capacity to be able to handle this? If you even want to be able to listening to this, like, right? Like there's
So I
no
was saying
consent there.
trauma bonding.
Oh, I heard dumping for some
This
reason.
is good too.
Are you
though.
dumping me? No, I'm just kidding.
That's real heartbending.
Okay, so bonding. Keep going.
Because yeah, so this was like between sharing for compassion and then
Yeah.
trauma bonding, because I feel like there is a distinction where it becomes too much. So that's where I was trying to find out, where is that line.
Agreed. Have you trauma bonded before?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
That's a great question. I think trauma bonding. So when we go back to the concepts of like enmeshment,
Okay.
when we get into this, like, this is the only person who will get it and understand it, and this is the only person who can be my support. And then they're kind of enmeshed in this like over emotionality or activating each other or triggering each other. That's when it might get to kind of a bonding over, like, are you kind of getting to like an like maladaptive, like unhealthy bonding? Like, is that kind of what you're speaking to?
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's the place where if it's like, this is the only source of support, and then if they're not there, we get into distress, right? Or if it's getting to the point where it's, you're activating each other, then this is starting to kind of cross those boundaries or like cross capacity of what we can hold in each other. Does that answer that better?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I was Sean, did I make sense?
No, I left my body. I was researching.
Aw, shucks, Sean. You're taking after me.
I wanted to
But you only get
catatonic
6.
trauma bond with you.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, the reason why I'm bringing this up, because
sense to me.
this goes into like the next episode we're covering with episode 6, where we meet Haru, the Earthbender.
Yes.
And so it's very much, not only, Katara is super quick whenever she sees another bender that's not a firebender. She's very much like, oh, hey, we're kindred spirits. Mm-hmm. And then when she finds out from Haru, because he runs away, and she goes, "The fuck? No, what? We're also benders. We're trying to help." And so when she finds out, he tries to deny ever bending, but of course they don't know that he's hiding. So like, what are you talking about? We just watched you, and that's when they're told, like, hey, any Earthbenders get taken to this island prison mine where they're there to work for the Fire Nation. And that's when she finds out that Haru lost her father to this. Mm-hmm. So immediately she has this bond, and I don't want to call it a trauma bond if it's not, but she's very much, she finds someone else who's lost a parent, and just that immediate connection and opening up. And they end up coming across an old man who's trapped under rubble of an old mine, and she urges him to use his bending to save him. Mm-hmm. But of course, this old guy is a fucking snitch. And he snitches to the Fire Nation, and they take Haru in the middle of the night.
He didn't have to. I know this is not the point of the conversation, but that mother.
I know.
Like,
Would
the
he rather just like
ungratefulness.
laid there dying
like-
in a rubble? Like,
Like, the only thing I can think of to try and just play into some form of humanity is he is scared that if there's
fear.
any Earthbenders, the Fire Nation is going to burn down more. So it's very much kind of a self-preservation, but just the
there aren't many
ungratefulness.
characters I feel
Oh
that
my
way
gosh.
about, but that old man, I'm like, go crack a hip.
Yeah, like
That's probably cruel.
Maybe you should have like an earth bend something into your dick. Like, I'm just, I was so mad.
Into like the pee hole?
Yeah, into the pee hole.
So reverse kidney stones.
Yes. Oh my goodness, can you imagine Earthbender bending out kidney stones?
Yeah, would you rather would you rather be a bloodbender from your I can't finish it.
or a brain bender.
Or reverse
Because it was me.
Neither.
Or
None of these.
kidney bender. Oh, that's
So hold on.
What's the worst
Would
kind
you
of
rather be
bending
a
would you
bloodbender
have?
to fix erectile dysfunction, or would you rather be an earthbender to help clear people of kidney stones?
Well, I think bloodbending literally is getting an erection.
Yeah.
So it
Your whole body erectus.
Homo erectus?
Yes.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the prompt?
Trauma bonding.
Which
Trauma
trauma
bonding.
bonding was the prompt, yes. So
Yeah,
at this
wow.
point, when Haru gets kidnapped, she then tries to pretend to be an earthbender herself, so she gets captured so she can try and save Haru. So they go to this prison mine that is in the middle of the ocean, and everyone's just beaten down.
Yeah.
She tries to do a rallying speech, which was a pretty decent
It was
speech.
a very good speech.
But no one wanted to fight. They felt powerless there. They felt defeated. And they just wanted to survive until they can get through this. And so at that point, like Katara, this could be her moment for her to just give up. And like, they've given up on themselves. What can I do? But she doesn't want to give up. And so she hatches a plan with Aang and Sokka where they end up pulling all of the coal from the bottom up to the top. And even still, the earthbenders don't want to do shit.
Right.
Until Haru steps up, hits the whole prison captain, what's his name?
Captain Dingusfuck.
Yes, Captain Dingusfuck. Gets hit in the head with Haru, and then when he attacks Haru, like the dad steps in to protect his son. At that point, that sense of protection allows for the rest of the earthbenders to take charge and like take back the island. And so it's going to be a thing where every so often, Katara is going to find someone who shares in that trauma and just immediately bond. And so I don't know, from your perspective, is she trauma bonding, or is it more so her compassion is being taken advantage of?
I'm sitting with this thought about like, really, is it maladaptive and harmful, or is it like adaptive and potentially like action potential that is in alignment with compassion and values, right? And so I think that's the differentiation I'm kind of sitting with. So is it trauma bonding? They are connecting over it. I wouldn't say this is necessarily a maladaptive, because if anything, it's helping them lean into what feels empowering to them, what is aligned with helping people, which is a theme throughout the entire show, right? Like helping others and advocating for people. So if anything, they've used their connection to say, we can keep moving forward. So in a way, I think this actually gets more so to the idea of post-traumatic growth.
Okay, go on.
Yeah. So post-traumatic growth is this idea that after we've experienced trauma, how do we see our abilities for choice? How do we kind of make sense of the world and relationships and not get stuck so much in these over-accommodated thoughts like I can't trust people, or I can't do anything, or I'm powerless, like the people that you're seeing on the ship, right? The that were imprisoned, they felt powerless. They were stuck in their trauma narrative. Whereas Katara and Aang were like, oh, wait a minute, we can choose to do something. And if anything, they're using this like resilience and post-traumatic growth of, we know what it feels like to be trapped. We know what it feels like to feel pain, and we're not going to allow ourselves to stick in that. And where can we go with our choices? So that to me is more post-traumatic growth and not maladaptive. That's my thought.
Yeah, it's almost as though the trauma bonding is a result of having a good moral compass. Like, you know, when you just can't help yourself but to do the right thing. And I think Katara really has that going on. But post-traumatic growth, I could listen to that all day.
I love that topic, honestly. So, yeah.
Well, talking about moral compass, we're going to see a little shift. Are you going to shift in your pants? That's my blood bending. You're welcome. So we're now...
You sent me on a journey.
Do I need to leave?
No, he likes it when you watch.
We're
just painting a whole narrative for you.
You're painting. This is your canvas. I am just here.
It always goes back to
with a leaf over my reverse kidney stone.
I thought you were going to say leaf over, like atom complex.
It
like,
is. Yeah.
But it's reversed. And
Carry on, Bob. Paint your picture. Like
So
one
we-
of your
we get
beautiful French benders.
I love you.
Thanks. And I know.
I got soloed.
Oh, God.
Oh, is that what that is? Like, I know. So it's one-sided because he didn't say his love back.
Yeah, he said I know, yeah.
Oh.
Get soloed.
Now Sean's the dick.
Full circle.
Full stone.
Punchline. So we finally get to where they are going to the markets, And before they get there, Katara is trying to teach Aang how to waterbend because he's very much like, I need to learn this because I have to master these elements before I can stop the Fire Nation. Like, Avatar Roku told me I have to do this before next summer. And so at that point, Katara tries to teach him. And she seems really proud of herself to be able to do this. She goes, hey, we're going to start super simple. Oh, hey, you got that pretty quickly. It took me a little bit of time. Okay, let me give you something more advanced. And then he's matching her and doing it even better. And you could tell she's getting annoyed that he's doing it better than her. Mm-hmm. And then it gets to a point where she's doing something super advanced and he does it with ease. And even does it like super much better that Sokka gets soaked by a raging river.
This is how I feel when I am editing a video, for example, and I go online and I am like, tutorial on how to do something technical. And it's a fucking 8-year-old who's doing it way better than I am. And I'm like, you motherfucker, thank you. I'm grateful that you exist and that you were born 8 years ago. And you're so much more skilled than I am, but fuck you. You just bent water right through my pee hole.
You reverse peed.
I don't like any of that. You just, you blood bended me to a point where I feel lesser. And I don't know, did Katara feel like lesser in this moment? Like what's going on?
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think about her expectations of self, right? Like I could only imagine the internalized pressure of I'm the only waterbender, the last one, right? And I need to learn, but I have no one to teach me. Like, so that internalized, like, I can only imagine the narrative that she has in her mind. And then there's this little shit. And Aang does it so playfully, too.
Yeah.
I think that's insult to injury because Aang's like, oh, this is fun. Let's just like play with some water and see what we can do with the H2Os. And Katara has put so much effort into it. It's kind of like, so I was this like shocking, nerdy, overachieving kid in high school. And I was studying my ass off all the time. And I had a good friend who like put hardly any effort and still had a higher GPA than me, right? And I'm like, you
had been waterbending for so long,
correct.
And then they just kind of show up to the scene. They're like,
master waterbending.
Check out this 2 gallons at one time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, what else can you teach me? And like, you just did everything better than me. Why?
Right.
Why are you asking?
Especially when it's this is easy. And you're like, well, it's two sides of the same coin, right? You want to be happy, but you're also frustrated, and those can coexist.
I also kind of love, though, that Aang is approaching learning with joy and fun. Like, Aang is just kind of seeing what Aang can do, right? And I think
he's also 12. Like, I mean, that's a standard 12-year-old just wants to have fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I kind of love that idea of learning. And so we kind of see these different approaches in the process of learning and development. And honestly, when we do approach learning with more fun and curiosity and lower expectations of self, we do get into flow easier. We do learn better. And so I think that's kind of interesting, even though Aang is already gifted, but kind of thinking about how do we approach tasks and the mindset that we're in is really important. So lots of rich ways to look at this here. So yeah, keep going, Ty.
So now they're at the market and they get pulled into this boat of merchants who do high risk trading. They're pirates.
I was going to say they're pirates.
They're pirates.
Oh, it was like EFTs?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Stocks?
They get pulled in and they have all these things and they end up having a waterbending scroll. But some fancy noble in the Earth Kingdom is offered to pay 200 gold pieces for it.
Oh, Prince Dingus-fuck.
Yeah, Prince Dingus-fuck.
I will say, I gave such praises to Katara for stealing the scroll. I was like, go girl! Like, yeah. Did anybody have a theft chapter in their lives?
Oh, yeah.
Me too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh. We're going to go there.
Well, let's go there.
Mine was stupid. Mine was, honestly, I was more of an accomplice. We went to CD stores. Because those were things that you went to.
For our listeners who don't know what it is,
Google. and a buddy would be like, hey, go talk to that guy over there. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll go talk to
you were
this
the
guy.
decoy.
I was a decoy. And he would grab CDs. And then we would leave. And then I would have all these CDs that I would, put on my computer. And that's when you had to like type in you put the artwork on, you'd listen to the album while you typed in all the song information. That was actually like a fond memory. That's another story, though.
No, it's a good story.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Because like
were you a klepto?
My thieving
I could see you
days were
thieving.
less about like I never stole from like some business, but if I was at
You
someone's,
stole from like a mom and pop place.
no, I stole from friends, and only in the sense
Is that
of
worse?
So okay,
I think the question is the answer.
it would be in
Grab my
jest
whiskey for this one.
where it would be like, hey, I would take away like their pencil or their book or whatever like that, and then they'd start looking for it, and I would just like, oh hey, you dropped this, and then they look
Professor
at me.
Klepto, pencils down.
I always returned it. I did it just for the practice and saying I could.
You were
Hold on.
you gaslit them into
you-
thinking.
No. I
them.
did not gaslit them because
did not gaslit them.
they know. They're like, I didn't
that's-
drop that. Did you take it? I was like, yeah. Like I was very quick to just say, yes, I took it. I just wanted to see a reaction.
Is Ty officially the most manipulative one of all of
They're
us?
so I don't even know
I'm a
how to.
manipulative bender.
I don't have enough suitcases to unpack that.
So it's like the person who just happened to just sneak around your house and put all these little tiny penises in your old apartment.
Okay, see that's funny.
I was part
Right?
of that.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
So it was just all in jest. Where
That's not
it's
the
like,
same thing.
It's kind of the same.
No. I think you want to feel better about this, and we're your friends. So
we
we're
still
not
love
going to
and
let
accept
you.
you.
We do.
We
do.
listen and we don't judge.
Yeah. No, yeah.
But also, I'm going
We
to hide
do
all my stuff.
Judge. Just to see if I could do it. You're the guy who goes up to someone's desk and moves everything to the right 1 inch.
That
That's
yeah,
kind of-
that would
You
be
would
me.
do that too, honestly.
I don't know if I would because that would absolutely drive me
I had a colleague.
insane.
A colleague used to do that to me. Who'd ever so slightly inch something just to see if I noticed it, and then I would notice it during session, and then I couldn't do anything about it because I can't just stop the client and be like, "Excuse me, I have to move this plant over." Like,
Oh
but
man,
bugged
I would be
shit
the
out of me.
worst therapist for so many reasons, but that would be.
Oh, yeah.
I would be like they'd be. We'd be talking about earth bending and water bending, and as therapists do, and I'd be like looking up, like, is that painting?
Crooked.
It's crooked. Hold on 1 second. I know you're experiencing grief,
This is what we call
but we got
exposure
some bigger
therapy.
problems up
Yeah,
there.
right.
That is not 90 degrees.
Amazing.
Well,
What about you?
Yeah, did you steal things?
I thought I was going to get away.
Oh, did you get away with stealing?
Yes, I did. So let's see here. I had one brief flirtation period of time with stealing shit. And I honestly, I was influenced. I was a teenager, influenced by someone who I thought was really cool, right? Like the cool girl of school. And we went to the shop. I won't name the name in case I ever
Josephina
go back,
Camel.
right? Exactly. Yes. So, I was like, oh, she can get away with it. Maybe I can get away with it. And let's see. I have this very innocent face, so I know how to play shit off, right? And
Okay, who's the villain in this story?
so I stole, I wanted to see what I could get away with. So I did take a few enamel pins, and I had a winter coat and kind of stuffed up my sleeve and took about a dozen of them, I think, and got away with it and then never did it again. But the worst part, I think, is also I then gifted the pins, and one of them I did gift to my mom. So then
Stolen property as a gift?
stolen property as a gift to my mom.
You laundered,
Oh, it's awful.
Pen laundering.
and y'all wanted to pick on me.
So
we can all be bad.
I also think I tell a mom story every time I'm here, which is, my family issues. But no,
Katara.
exactly. So I will say I told my mom this a number of years later as an adult. And I was like, oh, yeah, remember that pen I gave you? It was stolen. And of course, she's like in disbelief and entertained at the same time. But no, I never stole again. I think I just wanted to see what I could get away with.
Okay, so similar vibes here.
Yeah.
Wanted
yeah.
to see what you could get away with.
Right. Exactly. Testing
I
boundaries.
stole
okay.
from Chick-fil-A one time,
Oh, that
but
is appropriate.
I don't feel anything bad about that.
Correct.
I mean,
would do it
Jesus
again.
should have given it to you for free anyway.
Well, because he hates gay coupons.
Also, a vegan stole from Chick-fil-A.
Your face. I just wanted to see.
Gay coupons.
Yeah.
Gay coupons.
Oh. Sounds like you said gay Cubans.
Coupons.
Well, we're probably going to cut that. All right, so we all do stealing, but so do pirates.
Did.
I mean,
Did.
the pirates were the
Okay, that's
inspiration.
fair. That is fair. Past tense. Grammar is important.
Grammar is important.
Just on this one, maybe.
Yes.
But yeah, so Katara felt justified, and it really just got to a point where she gets to a point where she's trying to practice at night because everyone's calling her out. It's like, look, like you're putting way too much into this. And then because she's practicing at night, that's how they find her. And the pirates and Zuko like have this big fight. And at the very end, Katara thinks she's lost it. She's like, I should have taken it. I'm so sorry. She apologizes. And then that's when Sokka was like, you know what? I think you learned your lesson. Here's the scroll. And she gets to learn.
And then she gets to learn.
She gets to learn. Because she learns like the whip thing.
I want to
the water
start
whip.
saying that.
She gets to learn.
And like this thing happened. And then now they
And
get,
then
to,
you get to
learn.
learn.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
I said it like as if I need permission to say that. I want to start saying that.
Yeah, do start saying that.
Thank you.
It's like I make a mistake. Oh, you get to learn.
Yeah.
That could either be really validating or very dismissive.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah, there's a gray line, dotted line, perforation of morality.
yeah, caution alert.
It's intent. What's the intent?
Agreed.
Yeah. Neat.
So we're learning.
We are learning.
We do that here.
And Katara's about to learn about the dangers of not trauma bonding, but bonding through trauma. Because our next
that
story
is literally the same thing said in a different way. But it's okay because you get to learn.
Adaptive, maladaptive.
Yeah.
she gets to learn the difference between adaptive and maladaptive bonding.
Wow.
Through trauma.
I like the way you said that. You came up with that.
It's like you were coached.
Wow.
Aw, stop trying to take credit.
Coach bending.
Actually, fun fact.
Ty, you just stole that credit like you did the fucking pens?
Pencils.
I didn't steal. That was her. She stole the pens.
Pins.
Pins?
Pencils.
Wait,
are you saying pin like a thing you button
Pin.
on?
It's like you enamel pins.
Is this sign for pin? This looks like a hamster is hungry. I am 100% certain this is hamster hungry.
Stab.
Wait, how do you
It goes into
pen?
a fabric.
So
No,
like
no,
a
pin.
brooch?
What I was.
Okay, for our audio loadians, for our
Brooch?
audio loadians, Leia is doing a gesture where her left palm is faced up, and then if you kind of took an Italian, if you bent fork hands, but then you 360 it and upside down it, and you do like a little dap 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 on that hand. That is Leia's. She's crying. Also for our audio loadians, that is Leia's sign for pin. I guess that's fine. I would have like gone above my heart and done like a little fidget thingy.
So
here.
you would have stabbed a heart. That's better.
No, not stab
I
hard.
understand
Just
what
stab-
he would.
This
See,
pin is up
that
here
tells
on
me.
the,
Oh,
above the
hey,
heart.
he's on an airplane. And he's getting those little like flying pins. Or whatever.
What the fuck is that though?
What? You've never been on a plane as a kid and they gave
Yeah,
you
the
like a
wings.
little pin with the wings?
No, they gave me shit peanuts. They gave me peanuts and cookies.
That's because you
and
stole from Jesus.
Someone's got to steal from.
He would have died for nothing.
But I got to learn. So I thought you stole pens. You stole pins. You stole pencils.
I didn't steal it. Okay,
I stole sandwiches.
I've never stolen someone's
And I
sandwich.
gave them to my friends.
That is
so
a
I was like,
sacred thing right there.
wait, stole
So
what?
you were
Sandwiches?
Robin
Sandwiches.
Hood?
From I was like Robin Hood. I stole from the gay hating rich. I gave
To myself, a gay loving person.
Yeah. It's a hell of a circle.
Yeah, the circle of gay loving.
Sandwiches.
Sandwiches.
Punchline.
Nailed it. Well, that's all the time we have for the rest of this series. We're gonna miss you so much.
Well, before we go, we just got 2 more episodes to cover. We now get into episode 10, where Katara and the gang meet. And I love how gang is like Aang with G. G-A-A-N-G, yes. And they meet Jet, the freedom fighter. And Katara.
Shifty fuck.
Shifty fuck.
The shifty fuck.
Complicated shifty fuck.
Well, Katara is enamored with shifty fuck.
I mean, he's got the kind of edgy bad boy. He's kind of hot.
Yeah, he's like
as
if
a-
Joe
you know.
Camel
Yeah.
was reincarnated into a boy.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Yes, and.
Thank you. Thank you.
Aw.
Aw.
So at that point, Sokka's the only one that has like, I don't really get good vibes from this guy. But Katara is just very much of, hey, he's also lost family. I trust him. And she doesn't like want to believe Sokka when he says, no, I saw this. So she was like, there's got to be an explanation. Just like, yeah, it was this. He's like, he was an old man. He was an assassin. Here was his knife. He goes, I didn't see a fucking knife. Anyways, Katara doesn't want to believe her brother. And to her credit, who really wants to listen to Sokka?
Leia, is there some kind of wounded bird there kind of thing where, talk to me about Katara's wanting to, I don't want to say fix. I don't want to say that, but I would say want to nurture, or she's very empathetic, right? But maybe fails to see all of the interesting details about somebody.
So that to me would be the maladaptive trauma bonding.
Okay.
That would be, okay, I get you. I see it. It's very clouded lens without being able to zoom out and see bigger perspective and take in like Sokka's concern, for example. So I thought that was a really nice example and wanted to jump in.
Well, to that credit, I will say Aang wasn't coming from a standpoint of a adaptive or maladaptive bonding through trauma. He was very much of, no, this guy is super cool. Sure, I'm believing what he's saying because he just has this naivety of just believing.
Trusting.
Yeah, trusting. So, but she's very much not even wanting to listen to Sokka until she sees it for herself. When she realizes Jet's trying to flood, he's using her and Aang to fill up this whole cavern full of water so they can release it into this city full of people, just so they get rid of just the firebenders. And it's when she sees that she realizes, oh, I can't trust everyone. And so that's going to be really important because that's going to play into our next part in season 2 and 3, where she's realizing who can she trust, who can she not, because it's going to bite her in the butt to try and trust people kind of over and over again.
Yeah.
And then finally, for this last part, they finally reached the Northern Water Tribe. And they are super excited. Aang is offered a chance to be taught by Master Paku. And he's like, ooh, can my friend learn too? And he's like, sure, I don't care. That's fine. I'll teach you both. And then when he and Katara come in, he realizes, oh, your friend's a girl? And he kind of says it with some disdain. And she's like, well, you got a problem? He goes, no, girls just don't learn waterbending. They learn how to heal. So you're going to have to go there instead. And Aang almost wants to walk out of the training, but Katara stops him, kind of like how he stopped her when she tried to leave her family. It's like, look, no, you need to learn. It'll be fine. And she learns how to waterbend, or not waterbend, she learns how to heal, and she actually finds out that her necklace that she got from her mother was actually from her grandmother, and it was from the Northern Water Tribe. Her grandmother was betrothed. It's a betrothal necklace. And so at that point,
I love how important this still is.
Yes.
You would think that Katara is getting, having to be stray away from her mission, so to speak. Yet without this, a lot of key points in the show disappear.
Yeah, learning how to heal was very important. So it was needed. But then she's still mad because she wants to fight as well. And so at that point, Sokka was like, why don't you just get Aang to teach you? Sokka, you're brilliant. And so in the middle of the night, Aang is trying to teach Katara, but Paku finds out and he goes, you had disrespected me. You had disrespected my culture.
Peeping Paku.
Peeping Paku.
Oh, say that.
Peeping Paku.
100 times.
Peeping Paku. Peeping Paku. And so at that point, he gets dismissed as a student. And so they go to the king, and the king's like, I'm not doing shit. What do you expect me to do? Maybe if Katara would just apologize and stop being prideful. And
the irony in that sentence alone.
Oh my goodness. But Katara was very much like, I want to fucking bust a nut. And she challenges Paku.
I don't think you keep on saying that word. I do not think you.
She's wanting to fight. That's what she's wanting. She's blowing a fuse. She's very much
what
like.
What do you think bust a nut means?
Well, I know what one rendition of it means, and that's to
for our audio listeners. Proceed.
So at that point, Paku comes out, and she's like, oh, you ready to fight? And he goes, I'm not going to fight a girl. And he walks right past her. And so she is waterbending a whip and hitting him in the back of the head. And he goes, all right, bitch, fine, let's do this. And so they fight. And Katara is handling herself pretty well. She's still, like, getting handled, but, like, he's very much impressed with her as a waterbender. He goes, look, you're actually pretty impressive. But you're still not going to teach me, are you? Nope. And so Katara is just angry. She has so much to prove to herself. I think that's really what it comes down to. She's trying to prove to herself that she's worthy to learn how to fight. that she can be a fighter. And so at that point, Paku finally just... Go ahead.
Sorry, would this be some form of external locus of control where she has it within herself, but kind of reliability on an external factor? Or am I just doing psychology porn right now? Is that a thing?
Both.
I think
It could be both.
I think the way I'm thinking it more so is like looking. Are you speaking to like looking for external validation? Like
It feels
that
like
this
it's both, because I think to Ty's point, it's like, on one hand,
Yeah.
she needs to prove this to herself. On the other hand, in order to do that, she thinks she needs this external factor to this trainer.
to give permission.
So what
to,
is that?
Yep.
She's not waiting on his permission to fight, but she knows that she needs to learn more, and right now he's the only option.
Okay.
And so at that point, when Paku finally pins her with ice, and
Pin or pan?
pins,
Pin like a hamster.
like
a,
ice is
no,
coming
no,
in.
it's not a middle finger
and
for our audio listeners.
Why are you flipping our listeners off? Lodians.
No, it wasn't.
It was definitely to Sean.
It was to me.
Yeah.
I'm offended you would think that I would do that.
No.
but
We protect our sweet Lodians.
Well, I intrinsically trust Sean. So when he said, "Why are you flipping them off?"
Why did that sound like a blessing? For the Midnight Society, I intrinsically trust Sean.
Well, and also he has no intrinsic
wisdom.
trust for me, so that's how I interpreted it. But
Well,
it's
I
okay.
did not
think
hear
that's
your
true.
side, and you're right. I should have asked, like, why are you flipping someone
Are
off?
we having family conflict right now, and I got defensive? Oh, full circle.
This is metapsychology.
Yeah.
Metacognition. Thinking about thinking. Peeping Pagu.
So,
Carry on. Carry on. So it's at this point that Paku finds Katara's necklace, and he realizes that was the necklace he made for the girl he wanted to propose to. Mm-hmm. And it was an arranged marriage, and she ran away. And so he was like, "That's my necklace." And she was very much like, "That was my grandmother's necklace. You were the one that proposed?" No wonder she wanted to leave the Northern Water Tribe. And as she said a little more gracefully, she was very much of like, she didn't want to be bound by tradition, and that's why she left. And so that's kind of what changes Paku's tune, is like, I will teach you too.
The outcome is nice. The intention is, it's kind of the opposite, where the intention's pure and the accountability aspect is vice versa. This is kind of flipsy, right? Because I think his intention is a little gray, but she gets trained. I don't know. How do you feel, Leia? I don't think that redeems him that much.
no, I don't. And I get that it's bound by culture, yet we're also still saying that individuals are limited, right? Women are limited, which I guess implicitly, though, men also aren't supposed to be learning healing. Is that...
Yeah, they
definitely
basically
don't
are
see
trying
any
to
men
separate
healing.
based
It's
off
dichotomous,
role.
right?
It's assigning a
100%
role.
dichotomous. Yeah.
And that just doesn't sit, I guess, well with us, but I think maybe that's like my cultural values too. And also, like, I very much so value not being limited to learning, and anyone can, like, if we want to learn, we go into that. And so I think it doesn't sit well, and it doesn't redeem for me.
You want accountability, and you don't get that. You get a kind of shitty reason behind why he's doing it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna disagree.
Makes for good conversation.
It does make for a great conversation.
I disagree with my disagreement.
So I don't think it was a whole, you were the grandchild of the woman I loved, fine, I'll train you. I think it was a combination between that, realizing the reason why he lost out on happiness was because he was so tied to tradition.
Ah, good
Okay,
point.
that's
So-
interesting.
So I think, yes, part of it is tied to the fact that who she was related to, but the reason that Katara gave why she left, of how she wasn't going to be bound by tradition, opened his eyes to realizing, if I wasn't bound by tradition, could I have been happier?
Okay, that changes my mind.
Actually, I like that a lot. And then there could be implications of him breaking tradition, what that means for them as a group, but also more flexibility that he's saying, okay, maybe I'm learning in hindsight. Okay, that creates more depth to him than I originally, because I had a very strong dislike, right? So, okay.
Yeah. See, we have the capability to bend our brains and change our minds.
Yeah.
We're all
you.
not blood.
Yeah,
We're
say
all
it.
brain benders.
We're all brain benders here. Well, we did it.
We did it. We finished season 1. So where, as far as what we've gone through this first season, where do you see Katara's mental state?
Jesus.
Look at my assess. Can you elaborate on this question? Like,
So we've basically gone through this journey.
How's she doing?
Right.
Like
yes.
it's more so like, hey, do you feel like she has grown past this instant desire to trust everyone that shares her pain?
So I think when we're speaking to post-traumatic growth and, family and attachment healing, and also she's really advocating for herself throughout much of the show. And we've talked a little bit about like the motivations of this. Like, is it internal desire to prove herself? Is it, figuring out like kind of honoring her cultural background and where she's come from, like all those motivations. But I think she's really getting a better sense of where she wants to go as a person, right? And kind of coming back to she's fighting for what she wants for herself, as opposed to maybe being more reactive and defensive, like what we saw at the very first episode. Now she's being much more intentional of the path that she's paving for herself, which I think we see throughout the entire series. And so that intentionality, I think, is really more rooted for her towards the end of season 1 for me.
Well, I love that. Thank you.
I'm excited to talk more about this.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. And we have to wait a whole week?
I know. Well, we don't.
Oh.
But Lodians, I'm sorry.
Because of magic.
Yes.
Stay tuned.
Lodians, this
time
part 2
banned.
will be coming soon.
We time banned.
I think that's a Quantum Leap reference now, which, also for Lodians, I might have aged myself.
Oh, man.
It's
I've
okay.
bent some of this whiskey. I did another hiatus before this.
Again?
What do I gotta stop doing it? How dare you be healthy? You know this, Ty. I have to do this. Otherwise, death. There are no mistakes.
I just hate that
Because Jesus is watching, and he planned this.
The fuck?